Tonight, the dramatic rescue off a notorious Fleurieu Peninsula beach. A woman suddenly swept out to sea.
Torrential rain lashing South Australia's outback, the deluge and fast-paced floodwaters cutting off communities.
The state election countdown right now in full swing. Major parties launch campaigns as the personal attacks begin.
Donald Trump's tariffs raised in a blow to our beef, lamb and wine producers.
And overlooked after working for weeks to impress the power, but Jaden Stevenson tells 9 News he's determined to keep his AFL dream alive.
This is Adelaide's 9 News with Will McDonald and Alice Monfries.
Good evening. A woman has been rescued from a dangerous rip in the notorious waters off Petrel Cove on the Fleurieu Peninsula. Witnesses say she was suddenly hit by large waves and swept behind rocks.
A brave bodyboarder is tonight being called a hero, jumping in to help, only to be dragged out to sea in the strong current too, but eventually managing to get the exhausted woman to safety.
Helped across dangerous rocks moments after making it to shore. Emergency crews surround a woman lucky to be alive.
It was very quiet, and then in the next 5 minutes it was just heavy waves. I cannot believe what happened. It was so quick.
The alarm raised just before midday after the woman in her 50s, who was swimming with a group in the shallows of Petrel Cove, was suddenly hit by large waves and strong currents swept her out to sea.
Suddenly she said, "Help!" And I see her and she says, "Give me the tube."
And she just kept getting pulled out further. And then some man with the boogie board came along and he jumped in and he was trying to direct her as well. And then they just got swept around the rocks there.
Another man also jumping in to help, treated for cuts from the sharp rocks and barnacles, while witnesses on shore called 000.
I was pretty worried because I was watching it. I saw the rip forming and I see her getting dragged out. I'm like, this is just going to get worse and worse. And then eventually everyone came along and helped them out.
The exhausted woman making it back to shore through the waves and strong currents, thanks to the man with the bodyboard, hailed a hero for his brave and quick thinking.
Very, very thankful because he saved my friend today.
Paramedics quickly on scene assessing 3 patients before the woman was loaded into an ambulance and taken to the local hospital. Warning signs were installed at the dangerous beach after a coroner's inquest into 3 drownings between 2012 and 2014. The group from Adelaide urging swimmers to take the warnings seriously, even if it doesn't appear dangerous.
Everywhere you go, look at the signs. Yeah, it's very important.
Those areas that water looks dark near rocks, avoid getting close to those areas.
Bianca Wiley, 9 News.
Fierce summer storms and torrential rain are lashing South Australia's outback, with fast-paced floodwaters creating dangerous conditions.
And the significant weather system still has plenty more to give.
A relentless deluge transforming the outback.
We are currently 54 mils and counting.
Heavy rain and thunderstorms turning roads to rivers, conditions quickly becoming dangerous for drivers.
Not too close to the edge, not too close to the edge.
And cutting off access entirely.
Looks like I'm staying the night.
The Flinders, Mid-North and Pastoral districts bearing the brunt of a significant system.
It's bringing down all this tropical moisture from up in Queensland and the Northern Territory down into inland South Australia, and that's driving all these thunderstorms as a cold front moves through the state.
But here in Adelaide, promising grey clouds left many wanting more.
So unfortunately for a lot of Adelaideans who were hoping for a lot of rainfall, it's looking like we might just see a couple of millimetres.
All right, let's go live now to Chelsea Carey. Chelsea, not much rain at all here in Adelaide, but very humid conditions.
Yes, well, not the typical dry summer weather we're used to here in Adelaide. It felt almost tropical with very high levels of humidity. But that mugginess is now easing and conditions will really start to fine up tomorrow. Now, while we are expecting the rain to continue through the far northeast of the state for much of the week, here in Adelaide, our next best chance is Friday. Alice?
Thanks, Chelsea. We'll cross back to you again soon. A woman is tonight under arrest accused of a stabbing attack at Kilburn. Just after 9 p.m. last night, police and paramedics were called to Cromwell Road. Police say a 63-year-old man was found in a serious condition with a stab wound to his upper body.
The ambulance did eventually take someone away. They were in a sitting up position with an oxygen mask on.
A 31-year-old Modbury Heights woman who is known to the victim was arrested at the scene.
Australian Border Force officers have raided a luxury bus on a ship at Outer Harbour, uncovering 28 kilograms of cocaine. Detector dogs helping to sniff out several 1 kilogram packages of white powder hidden behind a TV inside the bus. Australian Federal Police quickly called in to investigate. This cocaine has an estimated street value of about $9 million, with the potential for about 140,000 street deals.
Police are tonight hunting a thief behind a destructive break-in at a Quorn hotel. CCTV showing the moment a window is smashed before the bandit loads up a backpack full of alcohol. The hooded figure moving behind the bar of the Transcontinental Hotel and quickly taking off down the street. Anyone who recognises this person is urged to contact police.
Well, the South Australian election campaign is in full swing and all major parties have now had their official launches aimed at securing your vote. Labor held a US-style rally today and One Nation leader Pauline Hanson flew into Adelaide to capitalise on the growing momentum here.
Strolling into a loud Labor applause, but it's his biggest supporters by his side. Premier Peter Malinauskas launching his 2026 election campaign, a speech full of motivation.
We know being in government isn't a job, it's a mission.
And promises.
One policy speaking to the next in an organised way, because that's what a serious party of government does.
But unlike his last campaign, there was no mention of ramping, a previously broken promise.
To fix the ramping crisis.
The focus firmly on housing, Labor pledging $500 million to buy up vacant land and fast-track building homes.
Because without more homes and more supply, you're just having more people competing for the same homes.
The Liberal Party used today as an opportunity to highlight what it says is Labor's 10 key failures. One of them, electricity prices, which it claims is crippling businesses.
South Australians should be furious. South Australians should be asking why Peter Malinauskas has not kept his promises to them.
We've seen our growth over the last 3 years grow by 19%, and yet at the same time our power costs have gone up 47%.
The Orange Army also launching its campaign last night.
This election in South Australia that's coming up, that's going to be the test for One Nation.
With candidates for all 47 lower house seats, One Nation could be a force to be reckoned with.
We will be fearless and committed to representing your interests.
Keziah Sullivan, 9 News.
A new tariff blow from President Trump has tonight put our exporters on alert. Australian businesses are now bracing for yet another blow of economic shockwaves from Washington.
A local celebration of Chinese New Year amidst a global celebration of Chinese culture. 16,000 kilometres away, the other global superpower uses his thumbs to give the middle finger to the world. I, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately, raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level.
It's damaging to everybody. Tariffs are inflationary, and guess who pays it? It's the little guy.
The news a blow for Australian beef, lamb and wine producers, as well as medicinal products manufactured here.
Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear.
Under the Liberation Day tariffs, most Australian exports were taxed at 10%, disadvantaging us against US-made goods, but helping against competitors like Brazil, the EU, New Zealand and Indonesia. But the new order brings every tariff to 15, reinforcing the US advantage and removing ours.
He found out the hard way. He put a tariff on US beef, but forgot that he's one of the biggest consumers, even himself, of US burgers, and they can't produce their own beef.
Trade Minister Don Farrell will travel to the US this week, in part to work out what happens when the current order runs out in 150 days.
We have alternatives. great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money.
As the world once again tries to work out what's going on, Canada's leader is trying to build a trade bloc, ignoring the United States. And he's on his way here.
On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people.
The theoretical promise, cheaper prices on Australian shelves and more of our products throughout Canada and Europe. Charles Croucher, 9 News.
With all that going on, there is confusion and uncertainty tonight. Governments and businesses all over the world are trying to keep up with Donald Trump's moves on tariffs. 9 correspondent Hannah Sinclair has more from the White House.
Good evening. It's been a roller coaster of reactions here at the White House in the hours following the US Supreme Court ruling. Donald Trump immediately slapped a 10% tariff on almost every country in the world. And now he's announced that rate has been raised to what he calls the fully allowed and legally tested 15%. The US president is using a different federal law to impose this new tariff for a maximum period of 150 days and says in the next few months his administration will determine and issue new legal tariffs. But questions remain over whether the Supreme Court's ruling means companies will have to be refunded tens of billions of dollars paid. World leaders left with whiplash. The French president says his government will adapt. The German Chancellor says the uncertainty around tariffs is a poison that must end.
Radical Islamist organisation Hizb ut-Tahrir is about to become the first group banned under new hate speech laws. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke confirmed today ASIO has now advised the group meets the threshold to be outlawed.
Okay. And this is the first time we've been able to ban, potentially, a group which falls short of a terrorist listing.
The Attorney-General can sign off on the ban once ASIO's brief is finalised.
In a major AUKUS milestone, a British nuclear-powered submarine has arrived on Australian shores. The HMS Anson will be stationed in Western Australia for a month. It is the first time Australia has ever carried out maintenance on a UK submarine. All 3 AUKUS nations now preparing for 2027 rotational deployments.
Princess Catherine has stepped out in public for the first time since the arrest of her uncle-in-law, the former Duke of York. Investigators are still combing through royal properties, and tonight Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's former protection officers are being urged to come forward.
All quiet at Wood Farm, a lone grocery truck allowed onto the estate. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor staying out of sight, spending the weekend holed up in the family's Sandringham home.
It takes a lot to actually deflate an inflated ego. I think he's probably feeling very sorry for himself and highly embarrassed.
Media waiting outside were greeted by royals of sorts, a group of Norfolk locals staging a protest.
With the world press on us, we need to look like the good people now, don't we?
This private property holds deep significance for the royal family. It was here where Queen Elizabeth spent her last birthday almost 4 years ago. At Andrew's home of 20 years in Windsor, investigators search room by room. Many of his former bodyguards would have spent time there, now urged by Met Police to come forward.
He would have had a team of protection officers and they would have been with him normally 24 hours a day. It's inconceivable to me, I'm sad to say, that nobody saw anything.
But in London, the firm is keeping calm and carrying on. The Princess of Wales making her first appearance since the arrest. All smiles at a Six Nations rugby game. The King had pledged it would be business as usual for the royals.
There are people clamouring that he should go up in front of the camera. He has done all he can do. He can't do any more because it is an ongoing investigation. And it could well be perceived, if he were to do anything, as contempt of court.
Do you think the royal family will survive this?
Yeah, we're British. We suck it up, keep quiet and, move along.
In Sandringham, Josh Bavis, 9 News. The British press are having a field day with the Epstein files. New emails have emerged that show Andrew had met with a Saudi financier and that his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson was hoping this financier would back her business. All this while Andrew was trade envoy. Meanwhile, articles out today suggest that King Charles might have been warned as far back as 2019 when he was Prince about concerns around Andrew's business dealings. And there's a community in Canada that has moved to remove Andrew's name for an island in its territory in a bid to scrub him from history. Will?
Yeah, a lot going on there. Josh Bavis, thank you. Aerial silver medalist Danielle Scott and moguls champion Cooper Woods have been named as Australia's flag bearers for the Winter Olympics closing ceremony.
The pair will lead a record-breaking team that's bringing home at least 3 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze.
Come on. Among 2 of the best from our best ever team, Danielle Scott and Cooper Woods, given the honour of flying the flag at the closing ceremony.
4th Olympics.
Yep.
First time you've won a medal and first time you've waved the flag.
Oh, it couldn't get any better. I'm so pumped, honestly.
Sum it up, Kurt.
Mate, this has been the craziest journey these last 2 weeks.
The team winning a bag of medals, 3 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze, and we're still counting. The chef de mission, Alyssa Camplin, hailed the pair as standouts in a team full of stars.
Their magic shined, and I hope every kid in Australia will see that as they carry our flag into the ceremony.
And before Danielle was loaded up with the flag duties, and China snatched the bronze. And on the penultimate day of the Games, the weather threw a curveball for organisers, impacting our youngest member of the Australian team.
In this halfpipe tonight, it was meant to be Indra Brown's time to shine, but with low visibility and all this snow, the teenage high flyer has been grounded. The free ski halfpipe competition put on hold until tomorrow.
But nothing seems to faze the 16-year-old, certainly not the weather. In Livigno, Damien Ryan, 9 News.
And the final preparations are taking place for a closing ceremony like no other. Christina Hearn is in Verona. Chris, the ceremony will be held in an ancient amphitheatre.
Alice, for the first time in Olympic history, the closing ceremony will be held in a World Heritage Site. This is the Verona Arena. It was built in 30 AD for gladiator battles, and it will be the site for where our Olympic warriors are farewelled by Italy. 41 Aussie athletes are taking part in the closing ceremony, and they're travelling in from all over the country. Cortina, Livigno and Milan, as these games come to a close in true Italian fashion. Will.
Yeah, indeed, Christine. What a wonderful spot there. Great sights. It's going to be a big, big night. Thank you.
Absolutely spectacular. Yeah. What a set there.
They do it in style, don't they?
What a games it's been.
Put it on. Yep.
Fantastic.
All right, Corey Norris, not so good here. 36ers. They didn't get the money.
Yeah, they didn't, Will. $300,000 was up for grabs to win the Ignite Cup, but their opponents from across the ditch wanted it that little bit more. It was a cracking contest, but we'll have all the highlights later in sport. Also overlooked by the Power, but Jaden Stevenson remains determined to revive his AFL career. We speak with him exclusively. And 37 years on, Jamaica still has a bobsled team, and they are just as cool as you'd expect. That's all coming up a little later in sport.
Looking forward to that, Corey. Thank you. Well, returning to the scene of Australia's worst terror attack.
The brave hero of the Bondi shooting, back where it all unfolded. And tonight we can bring you an exclusive interview with Ahmed Al-Ahmed, only on 9.
Also, a wild joyride turns into a northern suburbs manhunt. The bizarre spot, a suspect was found hiding.
Plus, how old school video games are helping South Australians unlock the secrets behind brain injuries.
Police dog Bandit has sniffed out a wanted man hiding in an Elizabeth East backyard as the police helicopter circled above. Local residents telling 9 News the entire suburb became part of a manhunt after a car at the centre of a police pursuit was dumped and a man was seen jumping fences. A stolen car taken away under police guard moments after a wild chase through the northern suburbs. It was in Alex Hickman's backyard on Holcombe Street where it all came to an end just before 10 p.m.
There was a knock on the door and I thought, oh, who the hell was this? And they calling out police. It's like, all right, no worries, hold your horses.
The wanted man found hiding behind Alex's old recliners. A short time earlier, police had spotted him driving a Mitsubishi Outlander stolen from an Elizabeth shopping centre. It was dumped at an abandoned house. Police say the man fled on foot.
Residents here on Halsey Road have told 9 News multiple police patrols swarmed the area, driving down the road at speed while the alleged thief attempted to flee by jumping their back fences.
Police dog Bandit very quickly sniffing him out.
They walked on through. They were probably out there for maybe 5 minutes, found him immediately, and then dragged him through the house.
The 59-year-old Elizabeth East man is facing charges including illegal use of a motor vehicle and driving while disqualified. April Cretan, 9 News.
Police are investigating a break-in at a northern suburbs business. Security vision shows 2 men breaking into a building equipment business on Main North Road at Mawson Lakes.
It doesn't look like they've taken too much, but obviously been interrupted with the alarm and left.
Police and dog patrols moved in to search the scene and nearby parkland, but the 2 suspects remain on the run.
Ahmed Al-Ahmed is a name Australians won't forget. In the midst of the worst terror attack our country has ever seen, he leapt into action at Bondi, tackling one of the gunmen. Tonight, his return to the beach where he became a hero in an exclusive interview with 60 Minutes.
Wherever he goes, Ahmed Al-Ahmed makes people smile and be thankful, especially at Bondi Beach.
God bless you.
Hello. But coming back here for the first time wasn't easy for the 44-year-old. He's emotional as Ahmed recalls the moment he took on a terrorist in an extraordinary act of bravery that made this former tobacco shop owner a global hero.
I love my country and my heart and my blood for Australia and for humanity.
15 innocent people were killed when 24-year-old Naveed Akram and his father, Sajid Akram, opened fire at Hanukkah, a Jewish religious festival, on December 14 last year. In his first Australian interview with 60 Minutes, Ahmed Al-Ahmed reveals the moment he came face-to-face with evil. Does he say anything back to you?
Nothing. He didn't say anything. Only I can see with his teeth, he was like this and showing anger,
Ahmed Al-Ahmed remembers everything about that day. But it's the murder of 10-year-old Matilda, the youngest victim of the Bondi terror attack, that haunts him the most.
I cry. It's full of love. She's an angel. It's been taken from by evil. I cried.
Dimity Clancy, 9 News.
And you can see Dimity's full interview with Ahmed Al-Ahmed tonight on 60 Minutes, right after Married at First Sight. And 2 police officers who were shot during the Bondi terror attack have been awarded the Governor-General's Medallion for their extraordinary courage on the day. Constable Scott Dyson spent 31 days in hospital from his injuries. Probationary Constable Jack Hibbert was left blind in one eye. Both men also receiving thanks from His Majesty the King, who wrote personal letters of recognition. The pair are yet to return to active duty as they focus on their recovery.
Very well deserved. There is no doubt that they are heroes along with Ahmed, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that interview tonight.
Quite a story coming up tonight.
Absolutely.
Iranian students standing their ground.
Still to come on 9, why the defiant demonstrators are protesting again against their own government.
Watch as the giant tortoise makes an historical return to the Galapagos Islands.
And a savage show of force, the heart-stopping moment a hippo flips a boat in South Africa.
Students have staged anti-government protests in Iran for the first time since January's deadly crackdown.
Tonight, relatives in Australia of some who were detained have told 9 News they're being forced to confess to crimes they didn't commit, and their loved ones had nothing to do with the demonstrations.
Marking 40 days since a deadly government crackdown, demonstrators marched through a university campus in the Iranian capital. These are the first large-scale anti-government rallies to be held in the country since January, when thousands of protesters were killed. This is 30-year-old Peyvand Naimi on Iranian state television, supposedly confessing to being a powerful and destructive influence on the uprising. His family says he didn't even participate in the protests, let alone orchestrate them.
What goes through the mind of the family, the amount of torture they must have experienced in order to agree to confess to something they haven't done.
One human rights group reports that at least 330 forced confessions have been extracted in Iran in recent weeks.
He was at work and 2 cars came. They took him, no explanation. He was in solitary confinement for 38 days. He didn't have access to legal representative at all, lawyers.
Peyvand is now facing charges of assembly and collusion and propaganda against the Islamic regime. 28-year-old Vanous Hossaninejad appeared in the same broadcast.
She was being threatened and promised to be released after she cooperated. She was not even in the protest. She was simply picked up from her workplace.
Their families believe they're being scapegoated because of their faith.
The Baha'i community is the largest non-Muslim religious minority in Iran, and the Iranian government has pursued a campaign of religious prejudice.
Relatives doing all they can from Australia.
We're trying from here just to be his voice.
Amber Caneen, 9 News.
Deadly avalanches continue to plague the European Alps. This weekend, at least 5 people have been killed and a string of them in Austria. Currently, the risk of avalanche in the region is still high. Skiers and snowboarders are being urged to pay attention to the conditions and stick to groomed runs.
More than 150 giant tortoises have made a long-awaited return to the Galapagos. The juveniles have been released into their native island of Floriana after being wiped out almost 2 centuries ago. A human chain helping the animals get back to their natural habitat. Well, a force of nature in South Africa, conservationists were attempting to catch a hippo that had escaped from a nearby farm when it launched out of the water and flipped a boat. The man managed to scramble to safety and survive the incident. That is terrifying. Hippos.
Yep, that's no good at all.
You know, you'd take a lion or a tiger over that.
I was going to say, everyone's scared of lions and tigers, but they're hippos.
All right, breaking down the barriers behind brain injuries.
Ahead, we bring you the new South Australian research that using video games to help patients get on the right path to recovery.
Also ahead, what you need to know before you chase credit card bonus point offers.
Plus, see the rare sighting spotted just off South Australia's shores.
Devastating impacts of a traumatic brain injury, even on the minor end, could linger long after more obvious signs disappear, potentially even leading to Parkinson's disease or dementia. An Adelaide University study is examining these links to help sufferers start the right treatment as early as possible.
Walking,
Just your normal walk.
talking, and completely baffling science, even 20 years on from a catastrophic brain injury which some say should have killed Lee Simons.
There is actually no medical reasoning why I've recovered.
The 41-year-old was playing baseball in America in 2003 when one of his pitches came straight back at him, striking his left temple at 250 kilometres an hour. Rehab miraculously brought back major functions, but the father's future is forever unclear.
Yeah, I'm pretty much 100% sure I'm going to get Parkinson's and dementia with how much brain and damage has been destroyed from the accident and the injury and the surgery.
Lee's not sitting around waiting to find out. Instead, joining more than 600 others with varying degrees of a traumatic brain injury in an Adelaide University study. Their cognitive skills and medical imaging assessed for any patterns pointing to when a brain is on the right and wrong recovery pathway.
We find is that having had a history of traumatic brain injury is predictive of your cognitive function and your mood function long term.
The hope is to discover strategies that can be easily translated into GP clinics everywhere, which means using accessible, inexpensive technologies like the Nintendo Wii balance board. The study needs more data before progressing to the next step, asking up to 200 more people with a brain injury in their past to reach out by Googling Find TBI.
particularly when we talk about neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. Early identification is really critical.
Help anyone with a brain injury, I salute you, because it's a very, very tough, lonely, hard road.
Will DeFulvio, 9 News.
Credit card companies are flooding the market with offers of bonus points ahead of potential Reserve Bank changes to the rules around fees. Here's Effie Zahos with what you need to know if you're tempted to sign up.
180,000 points. 200,000 points. Some of the biggest credit card sign-up bonuses Australia has ever seen are on the table right now. Velocity even lining up offers across multiple partners, all ending on March 5, just before the Reserve Bank finalises its shake-up of credit card fees. Coincidence? Well, loyalty expert Flight Hacks reckons banks are front-loading sign-up bonuses ahead of the shake-up. If the RBA caps the fees that banks earn when you tap, it squeezes the revenue that funds these rewards, so the perks will be diluted. Sign-up bonuses are often split across 2 years, and this is deliberate. It means you pay a second annual fee, and you may need to hit another spending target. The more you swipe, the more they make, and you run the risk of paying interest. Understand that 150,000 Qantas or Velocity points costs the bank up to $1,000 to purchase. They're betting they'll make at least this much money out of you in card fees and interest. These juicy bonuses are the hook to get you in.
A rare sighting of a deep water shark has been caught on camera at Largs Bay. The 2-metre blue shark swam up to crab nets off the Largs Bay jetty and snacked on a snapperhead in front of a crowd. Now, this shark species is common in South Australian waters, but usually found in much deeper waters off the edge of the continental shelf. And we'd like to see them head back out there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, not swimming there tonight.
Nevertheless, an amazing-looking shark.
Yes, yeah, very specky.
Cool indeed. All right, let's get to sport with Corey. Norris. Corey, to quote a famous movie, Chopper, no cash.
No
for
cash.
36ers.
Will they fell just short in a thrilling Ignite Cup final, with the Breakers claiming the 300k, but the Sixers, well, they have bigger fish to fry, and we'll have all those highlights from the Gold Coast next. Also, Jaden Stevenson's desperate plea to recruiters to keep his AFL dream alive, and a record-breaking run from bobsled Bree at Cortina. Hello again. Despite being overlooked for a list spot at Port Adelaide, Jaden Stevenson remains determined to revive his AFL career. He's told 9 News exclusively that he's hungry and passionate, urging clubs with spots available to give him another chance to prove himself. Less than 24 hours after being told his AFL lifeline had hit the skids, Jaden Stevenson was back in Victoria.
I'm obviously extremely disappointed. I've worked hard over the last 4 months, uprooted my life, moved from Melbourne. Yesterday morning, Stevenson met with coach Josh Carr, who'd already made his decision before the Speedsters' 2-goal best-on-ground performance in Friday's Sandful showdown. He said, mate, unfortunately we're not going to go with you, but thanks for coming over and we appreciate your time. I gave it all I had. I played some really good footy in the trial games, so I can certainly hold my head high and just know that I'm probably not what they were looking for. I'm 27, probably one of the older SSPs going around. It's undoubtedly a big blow to Stevenson's hopes of resurrecting his AFL career, but with a week to go before the SSP cut-off, a desperate plea to other clubs. There's obviously footage of our internal game. I'm sure there's footage of that Crows game, so for anyone else that has an SSP spot out there, I encourage you to look at that because I'm hungry and I want to be playing AFL football again. The former number 6 draft pick shocked the football world when at just 25 he announced his retirement after being starved of success in 4 seasons at North Melbourne. I started thinking that maybe I wasn't that good, and I went back and played local footy and was able to, get back my confidence, regain belief and realise that, I am still 27, I've still got a lot of footy ahead of me and I'm still a pretty good player. In just his 4th game for Collingwood, Stevenson booted a career-high 5 goals against the Crows. Stevenson's got 3! He was touted as a generational talent on his way to claiming the 2018 Rising Star Award. The self-belief and confidence has certainly returned, and in his corner, a pretty familiar face, good friend and Australian swimming superstar Kyle Chalmers. He just reached out and said, mate, don't let the dream die here, try and reach out again, or if not, show your wares in VFL and prove yourself, because I still think you're capable as well.
Stevenson knows he's up against it, but won't be giving up.
I've still got this, I've still a chance, and maybe my dream mightn't be over just yet.
Yeah, good luck to him. He is an absolute ripper. Well, the Adelaide 36ers will turn their attention to their playoff charge after falling just short in their bid to claim $300,000 in the Ignite Cup final. In what was a thrilling contest on the Gold Coast, the New Zealand Breakers pocketed the cash in a tense final minute.
The tug of war for the grand prize quickly becoming a shootout, using every second available to try put daylight within the scoreline.
There is no food, there is no water, there is no help, and there is no chance when you are stranded on Cotton Island.
Escalating into a dogfight as Cheatham took to the air.
Welcome to the Gold Coast.
But was one-upped with the Breakers' counter-attack.
Davison! Goodness! Carlton Davison flies!
While deep threes from Vasiljevic helped at crucial moments, it was New Zealand's Parker Jackson-Cartwright who found ways through the 36er defence.
That was a rhythm. Oh, look at this. This is a joke. Why are you so fast? Why are you so fast, Parker?
Adelaide taking a never-say-die approach, drawing out the final minute of an already intense final. Five-time league MVP Bryce Cotton leading the charge and keeping his side within a single precise throw of victory, right down to the dying moment.
107. Are you serious? One last chance for Cotton.
The 36ers, not today's cupbearers, but walking away with something out of reach for the Breakers, a chance for ultimate glory in the playoffs ahead. Will DeFulvio, 9 News.
Oh, so close. Well, Australia's women's cricket team believe they have the resilience to bounce back in their multi-format series against India after losing the T20 component here in Adelaide last night. The Aussies went down by 17 runs to suffer their first series defeat at home in 9 years.
We just lost key wickets at really big times, which can happen in T20 cricket. We were probably a few short.
The Aussies welcome Alyssa Healy back for the one-day series, her last before retirement. Well, a wayward tyre has stolen headlines at the Sydney 500. James Golding's front left wheel came loose, flying across the track, narrowly missing other cars.
And there's the aluminium and the wheels come away. So Golding trying to get back to the lane, and now this is going to hopefully not roll across the track.
Yeah, wild weather caused major issues for all drivers, this pile-up adding to the drama before Brock Feeney took out the first race of the new season. Well, the race to claim this season's Premier League crown is heating up. Manchester City has moved within 2 points of leaders Arsenal with a 2-1 win over Newcastle.
Haaland. 2-1. It's O'Reilly again. And they lead again.
Meanwhile, a Socceroos debut mightn't be too far away for teen Daniel Benny.
Oh! That is a fantastic strike.
It certainly was. The Aussie starred for QPR, netting this stunner to lead his side to a 3-1 championship win against Hull. And history on the final night in Cortina. Bree Walker and Chiara Rodingius secured our best ever finish in the two-woman bobsled event. As the pair crossed the line in 10th, there were tears, hugs and the promise of a fresh Olympic campaign.
Best ever finish for the Aussies in the two-woman bobsleigh.
History.
They have done themselves proud. They've done Australia proud.
Bobsled Bree Walker and brakewoman Chiara Rodingius writing a new chapter in Australian bobsleigh.
Our goal was to make top 10 and I just looked over and I just saw my family and I saw my sister starting to cry and I was just like, oh my God.
Sarah Blizzard and Desi Johnson narrowly missing the top 20 by 2/100ths of a second. The proud pair cheering on their teammates.
After being Bree's brakeman and Bree's alternate, coming here and being part of that team and just growing that team, I think that's really cool and I hope it shows all the young girls watching what we can do.
This is our first Olympics and I hope many more to come.
A sliding finale, and this is one for the books. Our Australian women doing us so proud on the Cortina ice. Tonight it's bobsled time one last time. The movie that inspired the world and put Jamaica on the ice-cold stage.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
you can do anything. You can absolutely... Shane, 2 years ago, he was fishing. 2 years ago, he was fishing. Just in there, just swimming in his shorts, fishing. And now look, now he's at the Olympic Games.
As for the Aussies, tonight it's time for celebrations. And from Brie, the promise she'll be back in 2030 and just maybe there'll be a pit stop along the way.
If the Bachelorette comes calling, you never know. But
In Cortina, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Yeah, good luck to them and the Jamaican bobsled team. Your
So
favourite
good.
Cool Runnings quote?
Such a good movie.
It's good, isn't it?
I think that the rhythm,
For the ride, yeah.
yeah.
Get on up, it's bobsled time.
I've never
Old
seen
mate's
it.
never seen it.
You've never seen it? Oh, come on. Come on.
Uncle Buck's my favourite John Candy movie.
You've got
That's not
homework.
bad.
Go home tonight
Yep.
and watch it.
Just before we go, we've got some news from the Crows. Now, Jordan Dawson has been appointed captain for a 4th consecutive season. No surprises there, with the leadership group to be announced in the coming days.
Footy season already.
It is.
All right,
We're
Corey.
here.
Good stuff. Thank you. Now a look at what's on 60 Minutes tonight.
Thanks, Will. Tonight,
I love my country, my heart and my blood for Australia.
returning to Bondi.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Hero Ahmed Al-Ahmed
What a brand, Mum.
remembers the awful day that changed Australia forever
I attack him and I take the gun.
and answers the question everyone wants to know.
Why didn't you shoot him?
That's tonight, after Married. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Dimity. Big story there. Well, the weather details for the week ahead are just after the break.
First, though, take a look at tomorrow's speed cameras. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Rue Dits and Loz from Triple M Breakfast.
Turn us on tomorrow morning for the latest Adelaide news, traffic and weather.
And don't miss Adelaide's most listened to segment, The Rumour Mill.
On 104.7 Triple M.
Hello again. Well, it has been quite a grey day across Adelaide, but with all this cloud, there hasn't been a whole lot to show for it. Just a few hit and miss showers. Hopefully you were one of the lucky ones. Today we had a top of 25.4 degrees. That followed quite a warm night. We had a low of just under 23. Right now it's sitting on 20 degrees. So quite a muggy day across Adelaide. Mawson Lakes topped to 28. It was 26 along our coastline. A few showers around, 1 to 2 mils at Salisbury, Tea Tree Gully and Scott Creek, just under a millimetre at Noarlunga this afternoon. But while we've been left wanting more, our northern districts have seen the bulk of the rain and the storms, with many outback roads cut off by floodwaters tonight. Port Augusta picked up 50 millimetres in just 6 hours. Yunta has also recorded close to 30 mils today. In the Riverland, Loxton and Renmark both scored around 10 mils. Kapunda picked up about 10 mils as well. But the showers have been more scattered further south, so under a millimetre on Hindmarsh Island, around 5 mils down at Robe and Mount Gambier. Now, all this tropical moisture that's been dragged down over SA will sit in the far northeast for much of the week, delivering more and more rain out there, while elsewhere skies will start to clear tonight. Around the country, Melbourne and Hobart a fine 22 tomorrow, overcast in Sydney, heading for 30 degrees. Back home, well, you can see all that rain up in the far northeast, but elsewhere looking mostly dry, and that humidity easing. A top of 28 for Port Augusta, in the mid-20s around Clare, Whyalla, Maitland, Duritpa and Naracoorte. Victor Harbour 21 tomorrow. We should see a return to sunshine as well. A severe weather warning for intense rainfall is in place around Moomba and Oodnadatta tonight. A severe thunderstorm warning has also been issued around Maree and Lee Creek, and a flood watch through parts of central and northeastern SA. On Metro Waters tomorrow, southeasterly winds to 15 knots, seas around 1 metre. So across Adelaide, well, the sun returns tomorrow. Really quite a pleasant day. A top of 28 for Elizabeth, Glenelg and Marion. Mount Barker a sunny 24. In the city, it will be a cooler night tonight as well, down to 14 degrees. Then tomorrow, sunshine and 29. Most of the week is looking fine, with lovely temperatures in the high 20s and low 30s. But there is a chance of showers returning on Friday and lingering over the weekend. So if you did miss out on rain today, well, hopefully, Alison, you'll see something later in the week.
Yes, thanks, Chelsea. We've got our fingers crossed for that. It was a little disappointing today, wasn't it?
It was. Couple of drops here and there.
Fizzled
Not enough, I know.
Ah, well, that is Adelaide's 9 News for this Sunday.
Thanks for your company. Have a great evening.
Good night.